Hello and welcome to our virtual class on global tax return analysis. Now this video is for those starting the class coming up, but I put it out here on the home page so that others considering the class can get a better feel for what in fact we do in this training. So my name is Linda Keith. My clients call me the Certified Playful Accountant. I do this training all over the country. I'm not a CPA in public accounting that does this on the side. This is what I do, and I'm happy to bring this program to you. Now, what you see on your screen here is a representation of all the elements of what's going to happen in the next 4 weeks. And don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to go through one at a time and just see how this all fits together and combines self-study with interactive classroom training to get you the very best result. Do know that the most participants do spend 4 to 6 hours a week in that first 3 weeks between the modules, the webinars, and the various case studies. It does depend on your pre-class experience. It does depend on your learning style, but that's pretty average. So let me show you how we deliver this. I'm going to go over to my taxreturnanalysis.com site. When you come in each week, you're actually going to come right in on the This Week page, and that page is going to tell you exactly what's happening this week. A little note from me, a to-do box that says exactly what you need to accomplish, what modules, what worksheets, etc., and then live links to everything that you need to accomplish that. Now, as we go through the program, the This Week page changes every week while you are on the webinar. So to access things you've gotten earlier in the session, that's what the modules, the resources, and the webinars tabs are for. We record every webinar in case you miss it. And the Contact Us page gives you the easy way to get the email or phone numbers for the program coordinator or for me when you have a question. So that's how it's all delivered, easy as can be, all in the same place. Never any confusion about what you're doing or where you are in the process. Now let me tell you about the self-study training, because the self-study aspect of this training is attractive for 3 reasons. One is you can fit pieces into your schedule when you have an hour or less, because all the modules are designed 30 minutes or less run time. So it's easier to fit into your schedule than days away from the office. You also pick your pace. If something's pretty basic for you, speed up a little bit, but boy, when you get into those things that are complicated or new for you, unlike in-person training, in a self-study format, you can slow down, look it up somewhere, ask a question, come back to it. So you control the pace, and then because it's delivered over 4 weeks instead of a couple of days, things can sort of fall into place as you go. You can absorb as you go instead of being bombarded by so much information in such a short period of time. So here are the self-study components of the virtual class. You have online modules. Take them when you want to, 6 of them a week. You have the print resources and the worksheets available to you, and other resources as we go along if I uncover a need in this particular class. Now the modules are online modules that are used in a full self-study environment, lendersonlinetraining.com. So they are part of this course, but they also are purchased separately by other people. That's why you'll see the introduction in each one and even next steps recommended. And you ignore those in the modules because you're in this course and you know what your next steps are. Now each one is standalone, so you'll get a set of handouts with each one of them. You don't have to keep going back to the manual except as a resource. They are generic, so I have people taking these that are mortgage lenders, ag lenders, business lenders, lending to wealthy individuals. And I sort of cover the bases in the online modules themselves. But then there's the interactive training, because this is where we start making it happen as if we were together, where you can ask questions, where we can get conversations going. So here are the elements related to the interactive part. We have weekly live webinars, and those are typically between 30 and 60 minutes. There are 4 of them altogether. They do include a Q&A time, so questions you've asked during the week, questions other people have asked, and questions that come up as we're on the webinar get covered in that live interactive setting. And then they always do include a lesson that goes across lots of modules. So there's a lesson on balance sheets that really applies to any business tax return. There's a lesson on red flags from income statements that applies to a Schedule C or an F or the front page of a 1065, 1120, 1120S. So I do use the webinars to pull everything together as well. Then you have case studies. I gotta tell you, you have more interaction with me on the case studies than people do in the regular in-person class, because I will look at every one and you will all send me 2 of them, one on 1040s in the second week and one on pass-through entities in the last week. And that one I have several variations, so you can pick the one that is most appropriate for you, whether it's a general one focused at ag lenders, or one focused on more complex borrowers. So let me show you how that works. I have right here a submission from one of the students, so they just copied the worksheet, filled it out, scanned it, and sent it to me. And then my team puts it into an Excel format so that I compare my answers to your answers, and then I create a feedback video just like the one you're looking at now, where we go through, and if you and I have a different answer, I say, hey, it looks like we started out with Schedule C different. Let me tell you what I think you did. And sometimes that's guideline issues. Sometimes you just miss something. But you will have my feedback both in this Excel sheet itself with all my notes, but also the video where I compare and contrast and help you see what you've done is different than me, and why I think it might be okay anyway, or why I think you might have missed the boat on that one. The question piece. The access to me will be in a variety of formats, but primarily those questions will come through my contact page, possibly through email. You will always get an answer to your question directly from me, and then it is those questions, plus questions from previous classes, that seed the Q&A segment of each webinar. And then again, at the webinar, sometimes you hear a question, you go, oh, right, well, now that we asked that question, you have another question. You know how that works. What about accountability? Because when you go to an in-person training, your manager knows you went. You actually have more accountability in this than you might in a 2-day training. And here's how the accountability piece works. In order to get the certificate for this course, numerous things have to happen. One is you do have to attend the weekly live webinar, although again the recording is acceptable if you just can't make it. But you can see how the interaction piece is pretty critical to this training. The second is every single module has its own quiz, and you don't get the certificate for that module unless you pass its quiz. And when you do, our system is triggered. So we have an independent record of your completion of each of those quizzes. You have to complete those case studies, send them to me, and get the feedback from me personal to you. And then you finish the evaluation at the end. So by the time you get that course certificate, you and your manager and I know that you have mastered, at least at the basic to intermediate level, the content that we have covered. So that is the program, and it has self-study and interactive pieces. It covers 1040, 1065, 1120, 1120S. And my goal for you is that by the time you are done, you're going to be more comfortable using tax returns as a tool. You'll be better able to know what can you safely ignore and what do you need to use. You'll be able to spot red flags and anomalies and ask good questions of your borrower. You'll be better able to document your thinking and document your loan recommendation or decision in a way that it will pass muster with your senior lender, with loan review, and heck, if the regulators pick that file, the bank or credit union will be happy they did, because you'll have it covered. So, happy to have you in class. Let's go say yes to good loans.
Linda offers a tax class that's interactive online. The credit analyst at our bank took it. It was excellent. It spread over several weeks, and it's hard to find tax training. As Linda and I have talked, you can't send them to H&R Block, so you got to have some kind of tax training. And this was great. At first I was a little frightened because it's online, but no, it's terrific. There's a meeting once a week. You can go through the classes as quickly or as slowly as you want. It's very good, and I highly recommend it.